I've got some names here, so I may call on you, but I may not. So, who had the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created it? Several of you had those. Who wants to speak to that one? Okay. You've had really good eye contact, and you smiled at everything I've said. And, you know, I don't know, maybe I'll bring you up to help out with Provost.
Sure.
Xavier.
That's just Xavier, right? All right. Why don't you stand up, because this is really, you know, a big, long room.
Yes, ma'am.
Here. Stand up and tell us a little bit about, now that you know what you know about AI and the Bonner's program, what does this quote have to do with it?
Well, it took me a little while to understand it. Stephanie and I were looking at it for a little bit. But from what we understood is that you can't look at a problem the same way you looked at it at the beginning. There's different ways to, I guess, handle situations. Maybe you have a natural instinct of handling a situation. Yeah, there's a natural instinct of handling situations, but if you just maybe stop for a little bit and think a different way, that way can solve it better.
Good.
That usually happens a lot,
Yeah.
if you just stop and think logically.
Good response. Anybody want to add to that? So ditto over there or something? Yeah, you know the phrase, well, we've just always done it that way. Well, this quote says you can't just always do it the way you've done it. And I like what you say about stopping and reflecting, because that'll help you figure out the, why can't we look at this problem the same way that we've looked at it. Well, let's go on to the next one unless somebody else has a pressing comment they want to say about this one. I don't want anybody to leave the room thinking, I wish I had said something about the Albert Einstein quote. Okay, so I have permission to go on. Peter Drucker is a management guru. If you go to any bookstore, you'll see lots of Peter Drucker books. He just died a couple of years ago. And he says, leaders create an alignment of strengths. The task of leadership is to create an alignment of strengths, making our weaknesses irrelevant. On my resume, when I applied for this position, you did this like administrative portfolio at the very top because you're trying to get them to look at you and you want them to know what you do best or what you think you do best. And one of the things I put on there was one of my greatest strengths. You got to be bold, right? You want them to hire you. So one of my greatest strengths is matching faculty strengths and passions with institutional needs. Matching faculty strengths and passions with institutional needs. Because in the provost office, I've got to think of the institution. Faculty need to think about their courses, their major. I have to think about the institution. I need them working for me in the direction that the institution is going. And I know that if they're working in their strengths and passions, they'll work 3 times as hard and love every minute of it. But if I ask them to serve on a committee they don't care anything about, I'm not going to get anything out of them but complaints. So figuring out, and you're the same way, part of Bonner is finding your match with the community partners that you can get excited about. And so, and this is an AI principle, but it's also a management principle. It makes our weaknesses irrelevant. Oh, I didn't ask anybody to comment on that one. Let me give you an opportunity. Who had that one? Oh, somebody's excited back there. All right. You are?
Hello, my name is Summer Elliott.
Summer. Why don't you stand up, Summer?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So, you want me to explain?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how I took it is that, for instance, in the Bonner program, a lot of us, we have initiated certain programs or organizations on campus, and it's like when you deal with other people, like your members, it's a challenge to be like in a leadership role. And so something that I noticed is that you have to look at like people's strengths, like what are they good at, and when you give them something to do that coincides with their strength, like it makes the whole program work well. Instead of, like it says, weaknesses are irrelevant. Instead of like dwelling on what's negative or what they're not doing, like focus on like what's positive and what the organization is doing.
Beautiful. I want to add to that one?
My partner totally left me, but
Oh, I'm sorry. But go ahead and stand up and tell us who you are. You can represent both of you. Come on. You can do it.
but one thing, because you said that we needed to put something about
about what it meant to us and then what it meant for Bonner. And what me and Joel had come up with was that we were a unity front against injustices, so that we were all for the same thing. So we were kind of that strength and that leadership going towards things. So that's what we felt it was towards Bonner.
Thank you. Anybody else want to add to that? Good responses. They're thinking. These students are thinking in the afternoon.
They are telling.
All right. Wayne Dyer is a pop psychologist. He was really popular in the 70s and 80s. Anybody heard of Wayne Dyer? He's kind of a feel-good pop psychologist. But I like this quote. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Who had that one? Stand up and tell me your name. Thank you for participating. It makes my job a lot easier.
Hey, what's up? Paul Tiger. Yeah, I'm awesome. Anyway, had this quote. Oh, any day. Come to my English class. I was brilliant today. Pretty much.
I shouldn't have distracted Paul. Go ahead.
No, taking part. It's all awesome. And pretty much, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Just think of it in the physical realm. When I look at something from a far distance, it looks extremely different from when I'm very close up and a part of it and experiencing it at a different proximity. And the same goes with relationships. When you just kind of are, hey, hi, with a person, you really don't care about them. But when you get to know them on that very personal level, you look at it differently, and you're going to have a much higher level of care in that. So.
I like that. Good job. Now we've applauded that one. Does anybody want to add to it? Everybody's look at their feet. You know, like, I'm not going to follow that. Anybody want to add anything to that? I think you stand alone in that comment. Okay, good. All right, let's look at the next one. You know this quote, I'm sure you've heard this quote, we must become the change we want to see. It's very, well, let me not answer it. Who had this one? Yeah, I was going to say somebody on this end. No, we think.
Okay.
Okay, stand up, tell us your name.
I'm Christy, and I think we all know this quote. We use this a lot in Bonner, but we must become the change we want to see. You have to take the first step, and you have to do what you know is best, and use the intellect and experiences from the people around you to keep moving forward in what you want to do. And you have to just step up and take that initiative if anything's going to get done. Because if you just sit back and say, oh, well, the next person will do it, it might not get done because everyone else is doing the same thing.
Very good response. Anybody want to add to that? Somebody we haven't heard from? Summer's eager, but somebody we haven't. Yeah. All right, Summer, go ahead.
Wait, Jemima, we don't want to talk. I'm fine.
Oh, okay. Do you know the song "Let There Be Peace on Earth" and "Let It Begin with Me"? I mean, it's like an old '70s song. Okay, nobody knows it. You don't know that one? It's a Christmas song.
There be peace on earth.
Get it, Derek?
Come on, Derek.
Stand up.
I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. You're not that old, so you just must really be a connoisseur of good music.
I've been quiet forever.
Okay. That song and this quote remind me of each other because it's basically, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And what this is saying is change has to begin with the individual. So you first have to become self-aware. I mean, you have to really realize when you're being negative.